Welcome. You are listening to the Be a Better Being podcast hosted by Michelle Zellner and Sasha Berscheid. Michelle and Sasha are here to give you information and inspiration to help you live your healthiest, happiest lives. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoy the show.
Greetings. Thank you for tuning in to the Be a Better Being podcast. I'm Michelle Zellner, your host, and I am solo today, but I have my good friend, Jenn Rosenthal, joining us. And I'm super excited to chat with you, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we're going to have a really organic conversation about your journey and the pivots that you've made and all the life lessons that you've had along the way. But just to give a little bit of context, I met Jenn, I think 3 years ago. It was right when my book came out, because that was kind of, when I was like reaching out to figure out how can I get the message out about my book. And you were did community-based outreach for Athleta, which is a Gap Corporation athletic wear brand of their brand. And you worked at the Cherry Creek in Colorado, the Cherry Creek store, and invited me to do some things with Athleta. And that's really how our relationship started. So, share a little bit about what you did for Athleta. And I know it's come full circle because you've been sort of back there a little bit, but tell the listeners like what that looks like and what you were doing for them.
So at the time when we met, I was the community coordinator for that store. And so what I was doing was planning events for the community, but also to raise awareness about Athleta. But all the events were focused on all the different aspects of athleticism. So we had different types of workouts, classes that range from Zumba to Pilates to yoga to high intensity. And then we also had different speakers come in who would talk about nutrition or balance in life. We're just open to everything and whatever people were doing. And so that's where you came into my life.
Yeah, it was really fun to get to be in the store, and it's open to customers to come, right? And so we
Yep.
would, yeah, either, and I didn't teach fitness classes, but you showed me how you would have like a yoga class in the Athleta store.
Yeah, we move everything around. We hold classes in the store, in the middle of the mall, outside by the creek, or we would come wherever you were or where someone else was. Pretty mobile with our opportunities. We were basically a platform and a sponsor for other people who wanted to let people know about their message, classes, or techniques that they wanted to share with others.
Yeah, it was a really cool partnership. I didn't even know that things like that existed. I had no idea. So that was really cool. How did you even get started in that and moved into doing that with Athleta?
God, it was a new program that had just started. People were only working anywhere from like 3 hours to 8 hours a week, and they were looking at different ways to be more involved with the community. So at that time, Athleta wasn't really doing advertising, and they had a message about the power of seed. And so they really wanted to be community mindseted. And so every store had a community coordinator, and it was all about just really building up some kind of camaraderie amongst people who shopped at that particular store, where they could run into each other at the gym and they would know each other. They'd run into each other at the store, just kind of bring people together in a different way besides shopping.
Yeah, well, we know how important community is, right? Just
Yeah.
in general, but then also community with like-minded people who maybe share some goals when it comes to their physical, mental, and emotional well-being. And for a brand to be that connector, I think it's really cool. And I know not every brand does that. So that was something I was really excited to be a partner about. And then we all know what happened, right? COVID happened.
Oh my gosh.
So we just get our like kind of start getting traction with doing these things. I actually got to do it at a few stores in other states as I would travel around and be visiting people and spreading the message about my book. I would say, hey, is there an Athleta in the area? And so I got to do that in a number of states, and it really was a great program. I hope it's going to come back around to all of that. But when COVID happened, we all know everything shut down. We can't do anything in person. We can't be anywhere near each other. So all of that kind of went away. How did that shift your life and what you then pivoted to doing?
Well, I remember that phone call. It was like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I was wrapping up courting and planning all my events for that coming weekend. And then Friday morning, I get a phone call saying, no more events. We have to shut down community effective immediately. I was like, okay. And I literally got off the phone and realized at that moment I had to call everyone, cancel the events for that weekend, and I was essentially not working anymore. That was I didn't know, we didn't know how long this was going to go on for. And so basically all events were canceled till further notice. And I was like, all right. I was at a friend's house when I got that call, and they had just had a baby. I'd never been a nanny in my life. I was a babysitter when I was in high school, which was 20 plus years ago. It was probably the last time I changed a diaper. Their nanny had called like the week before at like 7:30 in the morning, said she quit. She's not coming back. And so I was helping them out, and they were working from home at the time. And I got the phone and I was like, hey, I think I can stay a little while longer. And so I became a nanny. Like an hour later, it was like, here's your new job. I was like, okay. And so I did that all of the rest of 2020 and all of 2021. And then in um, January of 2021, I signed up for real estate school and completely shifted again. Started taking classes online, working as a nanny full time. And then I took my test in July, and then I started working in August. And so I went from being in retail for 20 plus years, and in one phone call, I stopped essentially and became a nanny and then became a real estate agent. It was a big change.
Very big change and unexpected and not necessarily your choice. So fast forward, now we are in August of 2022. So you've been a realtor for officially a year.
Yeah.
Yes,
I,
congratulations. So I
yeah.
mean, we always say, "Oh, hindsight is 2020," and yeah, that was a good thing that happened. So, I mean, are you having those feelings like, "Wow, this is great. I really like this." And in retrospect, yay for COVID because maybe this wouldn't have happened otherwise. How has that journey been for you?
I thought that maybe I might have been the only one that was like, COVID was actually good for me. There's been I've had a lot of conversations about getting out of retail, going into something else. And I'm not putting retail down by any means. I had a lot of benefits out of it. If you're there full time, depending upon your company, you can have health insurance, but you can go really far and develop a lot of talents and skills. Um, and I just wasn't I was very good at what I was doing, but I wasn't really being pushed daily to get to another level for me. And so it was actually COVID actually was like a good swift kick to get into something else. And real estate was something I had thought about doing, but it never seemed like the right time to drop everything and start something new. There's always like this fear of falling on your face, or if you mess up. And so I guess I was kind of put in a situation where I, not that I, I was already on my face, I wasn't, but some of the fears had been lifted through other means that I was able to take a chance and feel supported. And I'm really glad for it. And it's been a great opportunity. I've learned so much since then. I really love what I'm doing. Yeah.
Well, and just, the very brief time that we spent together, you were such a natural connector and, such a natural communicator. And you really do have that outgoing personality. And I mean, that's why you were the community coordinator, right? That's what you do. It's outreach and it's connection and it's all of these things. So, I mean, so much of what we do in our lives is about personal connection. And I know because I have a lot of realtor friends. My mom was a realtor. It's the same thing. It's establishing relationships. So
Yeah.
I'm going to venture to say that your 20 years in retail really did give you the skills to translate well into real estate. Have you found that, getting your you see 20 years of getting your feet wet in retail, I mean, maybe that transition wasn't as hard. Obviously, the mechanics of the job are very different, but the outreach and the social connection, the communication and all of that. I mean, that's kind of your jam. So was it really that hard and that different?
No, the transition on that side was not that hard. I think my favorite aspect of real estate is the connection with the client, and that's something to be successful in. Gosh, I made everything jumbled up, but, like, as a in sales at Athleta and my other retail jobs, you need to have good customer service. As a community coordinator, you need to listen to others and find a way to blend maybe sometimes 2 opposite sides together and make everyone work together to make the event a successful event and not an event that focuses on one person, but focuses on the community and the people that are attending. And so now taking all of those skills and applying them into helping someone buy or sell a home, it feels like all that training is being used even more so. And that feeling of, like, helping someone buy their first home as a newlywed or buy their first home ever, or maybe get their kid's first home, or every reason that someone's buying or having to sell a home, there's it's really personal. Like, I haven't met anyone that's been detached from the transaction. There's a personal reason behind it, and it just has means so much that it, like, makes me feel really satisfied helping someone do that.
I love that aspect of it. And I think unless you are that person or going through that experience, you might not fully appreciate how much of that plays a role, right? And how just satisfying it is to be that person who is helping somebody find their new place. And it really is amazing to get to be in such a rewarding field. And I think a lot of people may be looking in on the real estate, you know, whatever market or industry. I don't think they maybe necessarily put that personal connection to it until you've been in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think, again, just my guess is though the big difference is going from an employee of a company, and now in real estate, are you independent? What does that look like? And what challenges are you facing that maybe were part of the fears? I think you mentioned, there just didn't seem like a good time to drop everything and make a shift. Well, there never is a good time to drop everything and make a shift, right? So sometimes you
Yeah.
get pushed into the shift, which is what COVID did. I'm guessing part of the fear is, but I'll be on my own. I won't be getting the consistent paycheck. I don't have the health insurance. So, how did you get over all of those fears and just really, take it and go full speed ahead with it?
Well, I think I'm really blessed. I did have some padding in that year of COVID. Working as a nanny was actually the most consistent paycheck I've ever had, and so because we weren't going out to eat or traveling or doing anything, I was able to save a lot of money. I was actually able to pay off all of my debt and save money.
I want to interject one real quick second.
Yeah.
You weren't able to, you chose to. You
Okay.
chose to save money. You chose to pay off debt. Right. And that is a hard choice to make because we could, I need some retail therapy. And boy, Amazon is still open. So you could have said, oh my gosh, I don't have a job. I don't know what to do. My world is over. And kind of wallowed in that and done some self comforting. Right. So I'm going to just celebrate those choices that you made for you because those are hard choices that not everybody made. And you certainly didn't have to make those choices, but you did. And obviously they benefited you. So kudos to you. I'm really proud of you for making those choices. And it's those choices that allowed you to have the padding to go take this next step. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll let you resume.
Well, I mean, I also among those choices, I also had a wake-up call, and I actually stopped living in this world of, "Well, I can't get out of debt, so I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing." And I actually sat down with myself. I didn't even have to embarrass myself and talk to anyone else to find out what my finances were like. But I literally just sat down and I actually wrote out where I was spending all my money because I was making money, but I never had any. And so doing that little reality check also was like, oh, what am I it was it was like a slap across the face, like, I just like, "Okay, I can do this. I can stop going to Starbucks every day. I could stop eating out for every meal. Just because we're stuck at home doesn't mean I have to order in food every day. I can cook," you know? So, I was really proud that I finally, like, sat down and took ownership of my finances and stopped blaming it on not making any money. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't making a ton of money, but forcing I was adapting and having myself live within the means of what I was actually making instead of what I wanted to be making. And that allowed me to surprise I was like blowing my own mind every month when everything was getting caught up. And I'm like, oh, I paid this off, it's gone. I don't have to worry about this anymore. And so that felt really good. And then Athleta did open again, but they weren't doing community. And because I had been with the company for so long, I was able to work with them still and retain my health insurance that I had with them. And so that allowed me also to not feel like I have to jump into any job just to get insurance. And so because I had those paddings of health insurance, a roof over my head, and I'm paying my bills, I went for it. I was it was the type of investment that felt like I was investing in myself, and I'm gonna give it 100%, and if at 100% I don't make it, then I'll try something else. But there's no backup plan. I have no backup plan right now. If real estate doesn't work, I don't know what I would do next. I have no other plan for it. And so I'm all in. And it's been going really great. Just the people that have been put around me, the friendships I've made, the things I've learned have been mind-blowing sometimes.
Well, you are living the example that I know I've done for myself and I talk all the time is when you make a decision and you set yourself up for success. I mean, there you don't need a backup plan, Jen. There's no way you're not going to succeed. People are always going to buy and sell houses. That's
Yeah.
never going to change ever. And you are you. You're only going to get more confident and establish more relationships and do more networking as time goes on. So I mean, personally, I don't think you'll ever there's no need for a backup plan, right? So you got it. This is here. And it's exciting to see that, at your age, because you've made a big pivot, right? And this was, I'm sure not part you thought maybe retail forever. This is what I do, this is what I'm gonna do. And now I'm gonna guess that just a little bit of financial freedom, having unloaded the burden of debt, it is the number one stressor for people, right? Finances. And you are
Yeah.
unloading that burden because you've made those choices. And now maybe opening yourself up to a different level of financial freedom because of the income that can be made in real estate. I would imagine that's really exciting and motivating.
Yeah. It feels kinda liberating to even as simple as a friend wanting to go out for dinner is something I can say yes to and not like, "Oh my gosh, if I do this, will I pay my rent? I don't know what my next paycheck's gonna be," which is pretty ironic because I don't know what my next paycheck is gonna be or when it's gonna be, but I put myself in a situation where I have enough of a buffer that I have the freedom to say yes and not worry about it, but I also have that education and the know-how to be like, "Actually, no, I really shouldn't be spending money this much." But it's not that I can't afford it, no, I'm being responsible, no. And so it just feels different and doesn't feel defeating when I say no. It feels empowering to say that.
It sounds like you've changed your money mindset too, right? You're not a victim of the paycheck. You are in control of what comes in and out. Not always about how much comes in, but you are a go-getter. You didn't just sit around and say, "Oh, well, I lost my job. I'll wait for Athleta to open up again, and in the meantime, I'll just binge Netflix and order in." Right? Like, "Oh, nanny? Ugh, I don't know, but okay, because you got to do what you got to do." And not a lot of people did that through COVID. So
Yeah.
where did that, just in general, where did that come from? Have you always had that kind of scrappiness, go getter, you make do, you get it done, you figure it out? Where did that come from? What was your upbringing like around that kind of stuff?
I mean, I think I might have always had this sort of level of scrappiness. I mean, I'm born with a bilateral cleft palate, and so by the time I graduated high school, I think I've had between 10 to 15 surgeries already, and so I've always been super supported and loved by my mom to the utmost degree, but she also, with that love, I don't like, kinda said, "This isn't a thing that's gonna hold you back. Like, it's something you go through, but it's not your my life woe is me to my life because I had this problem." It's more like, "Oh, yeah, I had surgery, it was a thing. I still am going to school, I'm still getting educated, I'm still learning." And she never, like, if I didn't do well in school, there was still a cause and effect of it. It was never like a my surgery and how I was born and was never like a pass for laziness, or it was never a pass to not try my hardest and succeed in life. And so because of that, I never used that as an excuse. And so it was often something I had to like work even harder to compensate for, or find different ways to succeed if I couldn't do it the way everyone else could. Like something as simple as like I was 10 years old. My mom was said the first time I was able to suck on a straw. I think most people learn how to do that at like 2 or 3. And so it took me an extra 7 years. She said we were in the middle of Burger King and I had a Diet Coke or a Coke or whatever, and I sucked on a straw and she started crying in the middle of Burger King. But it wasn't like she never was like, "Oh, well, I'll just never give you a straw." So
Right.
like, "Well, you're gonna try each time. If it doesn't work, drink it how you need to, but you're gonna try." And so I think that type of application just spilled into every aspect of my life. And sometimes I get it sooner than others.
I love that. I love your mom that she didn't allow you to be a victim. She didn't sound like she was a woe is me. My daughter has a big challenge and her life is going to be so much harder, but rather I'm going to help her figure out how to do life, even though she has a challenge. And I'm going to set an expectation and a standard, and I'm going to push her and support her. And we're going to figure this out together rather than hold you back and say, don't put you out there and protect you because I'm sure kids probably maybe make fun of you sometimes or, just had that extra challenge or maybe even your own frustration, not getting or feeling like you could do what everybody around you was doing. And I'm sure that shaped some of your confidence and your personality and all of that.
Oh, I mean, there are stories. They're unnecessary to share, but I definitely was I I'm nothing against what kids go through today, but I think I'm back. I'm like, what I went through was definitely today's version of like bullying or being picked on, but there wasn't the community around it to like call the other kids out on it. So my mom was my community around it. I would come home, tell her what happened, and she would just say, "Okay, well that's on them." Like, you just get up and keep going, and my mom was also a single parent. Like, my dad wasn't around when I was younger, and so he was a single parent, really successful in life, and I never felt like I was without her, even though she was working. And so to watch her balance everything and succeed is also an example and a goal of something to strive for as well.
I mean, we
Yeah.
talk so much about how important role models are in your life, and I mean, you really are. I say I won the parent lottery. I know I did. Well, it sounds like you won the mom lottery for sure. And yay. And it certainly has given you the skills and the confidence and the personality traits and all of that to obviously succeed and succeed in this next phase. So 1 year in now as a realtor and going well. Yes.
Yeah, it's going really well. Actually, about a month ago, I joined a team at the office called the Mile High Collective, and it's been mind blowing what I've learned in like the past month already. Real estate, you have to go in knowing you're constantly going to be learning and things are going to be changing. And so the team leader has been a mentor, and she cares not just about like how many homes you sell or buy, but also about my personal development, which has been encouraging and just continuing this momentum to continue this path of moving forward and be successful and having that freedom and continue propelling myself forward. It's been a great journey so far. So I'm excited.
It is exciting. So one thing Sasha says all the time is there's enough real estate for all of us. Now she's not talking about like houses. She's talking about we don't need to be in competition. We can collaborate. We can support. And I mean, literally, there is enough real estate for all of us, right? It's a very competitive industry, and it can be kind of a yucky, cutthroat, and like it can be icky. I've seen it, and it doesn't always, it's not pretty in a lot of ways. But it sounds like you found a really great fit with people and a team that is very nurturing and mentor and does want to lift the team and lift the individuals of the team. And I always talk about surrounding yourself with people who will support you, challenge you, teach you, nurture you, guide you, celebrate you, hold you accountable. It sounds like that's the kind of team that you're on. Is that
Yeah, I mean, I didn't rush to join any team. I and there are a lot of opportunities at the office that I'm at to join a lot of teams, and they're all really good and really strong, and they all function differently. And so you sit back, observe, see what's going on, and find out which team will vibe well with your personality and your strengths and your weaknesses. And you have to acknowledge that you have weaknesses as well, so that you could find someone to like who could handle to be strong where you're weak, and so that you don't have to be strong everywhere. I also learned really early on, like 1 month in, that I don't ever wanna be that type of realtor that has a bad reaction when a friend picks someone else. I was actually just talking to someone about it the other day, and I was like, I have a lot of friends that are realtors as well, and my friends and I will have a lot of mutual friends. And at the end of the day, I don't get along with every friend the same way that someone else gets along with someone. And so it's a really big purchase. There has to be a lot of trust and a lot of other things besides just signing the dotted line. And so there's going to be a day where someone I know who's really close to me wants to not mix business with pleasure, and they want to work with someone they don't know, or they want to work with someone else for whatever reason they have. And that's fine. Like, I would rather, obviously, I want to help whoever I can help, but friendships have always been really important to me. And because of that, everything else just gets taken care of. Prior to Athleta, I was a personal shopper for another clothing company, and there was another personal shopper in the store, and I was the new one in. And I helped someone one day, and that was supposedly their client, and I didn't know, and they were really upset about it. And so I looked at the numbers, and he wanted to have a discussion with our general manager. And so we're in the back, we're talking, and I'm like, this is a $6 million store. You're not even responsible for $1 million of it. So back off. Like, there's enough money to go around, there's enough homes to go around, and if you do a good job and you work as hard as you can and you have a good work ethic, the income is gonna come. So, I don't need every single one that's there because there's enough good ones for me that if someone doesn't wanna work with me, it's not gonna work out well anyway, and I want everyone to have a good experience.
Right. It's such a good perspective to have. And I think it is a hard one to separate because it feels personal, right? When they don't pick you, well, why? What's wrong with me? Why don't you want to work with me? Why'd you pick them instead? And it is hard to not take it personally and to recognize that, you know what, this might be a really good decision to not work with me because we are friends. And if there's anything that goes wrong or that doesn't go, or we clash on something, or you have an idea of the way it should go and I have a different idea of the way it should go, it is going to affect the friendship. There's no way it can't. And you have to decide what's more important, right? That commission or your friendship. Now, in the perfect world, you get both. Well, we don't live in a perfect world. So I think that's such a great perspective. And knowing that going in and knowing that you have already drawn that line for yourself and kind of set that boundary for yourself, that's really valuable life lesson. And I think the other one that I want to highlight is to take time to evaluate the team and recognize who has, the things that are going to help bolster your weaknesses and maybe the strengths that you have and how you could be a contributing member of that team. Whereas they all kind of have my strengths. I don't know that I'd be very useful there. So even just as a metaphor for your team in life, right? Your friends, your network, your professional acquaintances, I think taking that step back and evaluate who are you joining to be on your team or inviting, or what team are you part of and how is that dynamic working for you and how are you contributing to that dynamic. And I mean, in a lot of cases we really do get to make a choice of what team we are on. Sometimes we feel like we don't have a choice because, well, this is my family or we've been friends forever so we have to stay friends forever. We always have choice. Sometimes it's one hard choice over another hard choice. But, as you kind of think about how you did that with evaluating the team that you're going to actually be professionally associated with, I think it is a good life lesson for people to take a step back and just evaluate because we learn and we take on the traits and we have these constant interactions with the people that we surround ourselves with, right?
Yeah.
And if you want to learn and grow and be the best you can be, well, then the people that you spend time with should somehow fit into that as well.
They talk about picking 5 people, be very careful about the 5 people you put around you, and to put of those 5 people, some of them should be where you'd like to be, and some of them are people that you should bring up to where you are, and some of them are going along the same path with you. And so, ever since I heard that, I've been thinking about the people that are around me, and I'm not hard set on the number 5, but I have been, like, kind of being like, going through and seeing, like, which friends are my learning from, which friends am I trying to bring up, and which friends are at my level. But funny enough, there's a large of people that are not any of those, and they're not in they're great people, but they're just like, there's nothing happening or progressing. And so, it's ever since I heard that, it's been tweaking a little bit where I spend my time, who I'm calling first, or like just kind of change the direction I've been going. And because of that, it's also been changing the output that's been coming from it because I'm not spending this time in a numb zone where nothing's happening and I'm being more intentional about being around people that want to go somewhere. That is also aligning with where I want to go. And so that's changed my life direction as well. friendships, coworkers, business partners, all kinds of things.
Yeah, those are hard phases of life and hard transitions that I think at various stages in life we all are faced with those things, but sometimes we don't know what to do with it, or we feel bad leaving it behind, or we really don't want to leave it behind even though we know it's hard to grow if we stay back here at the same time. And I think we all have those internal conflicts. And sometimes, and this will happen, somebody's going to leave you behind because you're not in that circle or where they want to be, right? Same with me. And I know it's happened. I tell you the names of the people that have left me behind. And it's fine. It's learning
Yeah,
how to go through those phases gracefully, not take it personally, even if it might be personal. It's fine because that is what life is. It is change and growth and evolution. Not everybody changes, grows, and evolves. Not everybody changes, grows, and evolves at the same time, at the same pace, in the same directions, and it's all fine. But I think,
yeah,
to your point, it's about the awareness and being intentional because we do only have so much time and energy. And how you devote that time and energy is your choice. And if we're devoting time and energy on things that really aren't going to get us where we want to go or don't line up with our values, well, then we're actually just doing our own selves a disservice. So, and it's hard, but yeah, it's when you get to that point in life where you recognize that, no, I do want to go differently or in a different way, and this is what I'm going to have to do to get there, and then making that hard decision.
I realize it's okay to make that choice later in life as well. Because part of the other fear about making this change was the fact that I'm not 21. Like, I'm in my 40s, I'm like my mid 40s, which is crazy that I'm like, wait, someone asked me how old I was, and I'm like, don't let my age fool you for my abilities. But 45 and I like completely changed, well, everything. I changed my whole career and schooling and like it's a complete 180 in some ways, and there were definitely moments before making that change where I had that mindset you said earlier where I'm in retail, this is what I do, and this is my career now for the rest of my life. And then something during the whole COVID and that whole time of making the shift, I was like, wait, I can make a change. It doesn't matter how old I am. It's not too late.
Yeah,
So that
it's
is
never too
important.
late, ever,
Yeah.
right? Ever. And I know because I'm not much older than you, so we're basically the same age. And I have people even younger than us that are like, oh, but this is what I'm supposed to do. And I got to do it because this is what I went to school for. And I spent all my money and I've worked my way to this point. I should just stay here to get to the next level. I can't start over. Yes, you can. Of course you
Yeah.
can. And, to people who are younger and just entering their careers, what you choose to do today, this also doesn't have to be the rest of your life. So, having that open mindedness, that perspective, and I think the awareness, and then, yeah, doing the hard work. If you recognize that a shift would do me good, is it going to be hard? Of course it is. Growth is always hard. It's scary. It's uncomfortable. That's what growth is. But what's the alternative? You stay in something that, like you said, even before COVID, you weren't being challenged. You weren't being pushed. And at some point that leads to not feeling fulfilled, not having satisfaction and a sense of accomplishment. And then that starts to filter into other aspects of your life because everything is connected, right? When we don't feel accomplished or a sense of contribution or something to be proud of, well, then why would I do the best to be my best? Why would I take care of myself to the best of my ability? I don't, why bother? It all snowballs into other things. Have you experienced any of that? That with like this shift in what you're doing and being challenged and feeling amazed at all that you're doing and learning and feeling really, like a sense of contribution and this financial freedom and all the opportunities that are still very far ahead of you because you have a lot of life ahead. It's never too late, right? Have you noticed that that has maybe ignited some changes in other areas of your life?
Oh, absolutely. I I actually started, like, taking I don't have, like, a magic cure, I didn't suddenly lose 100 pounds over the past 2 years, but I started paying attention to what I was eating just to be healthier, conscious about it. I still like ice cream and all the things, but I started being like, "Okay," not so much I started changing it, like, I wasn't just, like, on a diet, off a diet, like, I was picking reasons as to why I wanted to eat what I wanted to eat. Actually, this past weekend was 1 year not becoming a vegetarian. I wasn't feeling so well, and I was trying to figure out what was going on with food, and I was at someone's house, and I was watching their home for a week, and I was like, I'm not gonna bring any meat into their house. They don't eat meat, and I'm just gonna use this as an opportunity to see how I feel afterwards. And by the end of the 10 days I was there, I was just feeling a lot better. I wasn't feeling so lethargic. And that's not the cure all for everyone, like, a lot of people eat meat and they have no problems, but for me, I just started feeling a lot better, and so I just stopped. But I started paying attention to what I was eating and also how I'm feeling, which I never understood what people meant when they were like, "Well, write down how you feel after you eat your meal." I was like, "I feel satisfied. That was great." But then I guess I started thinking about, like, do I get really tired? How long am I tired for? Do I feel ready to go out and do something? Do I feel overly hyper? Do I feel like I started thinking about words that made sense to my mind. I was like, oh, when I eat this, I just feel like, going to the bathroom for a long time. Or when I eat this, I feel ready to just go out and do the next thing. Like, I guess I really enjoy food 100%, but then I also realized that food was providing my energy for my day, and so I started realizing after eating certain foods, it was like, "I'm tired, I don't wanna go out anymore," and then after other foods, the food was good and it was also energy. And so I'm working on it, still a work in progress, of that balance of the good food that's also good energy afterwards. And then I kind of save those other meals, like, I just want to stay home tonight anyway. I'm going to eat this one tonight. And then it's just been interesting to learn about food that way.
Well, I love that you have like taken that piece of it and really paid attention because, that's my jam, right? Like
Yeah.
if you don't a healthy, happy human is a more productive human, is a more energetic human, has a better connection and relationship, probably going to sell more houses when you're healthy and feel good than when you're not healthy and don't feel good, right? It always starts foundationally at like physically, mentally, and emotionally. How is your human? So I love that you're tackling that piece of it as well. And I mean, it does take a lot of energy to get through a day and to be with it and connected. And when you're not fueled properly, it's hard. You're very distracted. And even if you don't know you're distracted, your brain is not firing on all cylinders when it's not properly fueled. So personally, I love that piece of your growth. Yay. Before we wrap up here, I know you said you're back working part-time with Athleta and they're starting to do things. So fill us in on that and what's next and what does that all look like?
So I'm with Athleta part-time. I am not doing the events with them, but because I'm still I volunteer with the Denver Dream Center. I've been doing their toy drive for the past 4 years since we met. I think that was the first year of it, and so I'm actually overseeing the toy drive again this year. We just had our first meeting August 11th, and so I've been like I still connected with everyone. I never stopped talking to everyone. It's changed now. It's more like, oh, hey, I was thinking about you, and Athleta has started to do events again. And so I've now they have a manager doing it and it's very part time. It's not to the level that it was at. It's more they'll sponsor events that are happening. So it does look different. They're not having events in the stores yet. It's still more like if you're hosting a class, we'll bring stuff to you or promote it that way. And so it's allowed me to stay connected with everyone that I've worked with in the past. And also, we're going to ramp up for that toy drive again, which I'm super excited about. And then I've been organizing on the side for some people because that is my other passion. It kind of ties in with helping people sell a home and helping them get ready to sell their home by getting rid of their excess. And we all have excess in our homes, just slightly. But primarily, my focus has been real estate and working with this team and just the different opportunities that have come about with it and really getting the word out there that I'm even in real estate because it's still new. I think there are still people out there that have no idea what I'm up to, like what happened years before COVID. Just getting back out in the world and being like, hey, I'm alive. This is what I'm doing. Come along for the ride. So,
Well, I love it, and I'm really happy and grateful to be part of your ride. It's been fun to watch it, and I creep on you a little bit on social media, and then we reconnected because of some Athleta stuff, and I think you just reached out to again let people know, hey, I'm doing real estate, and so when you sent that, I'm like, I need to chat with Jen, and we need to really catch up. So thank you for coming on because you really, I mean, you have some good life lessons in there. And I hope anybody that listened, I mean, I tried to highlight them, but I hope you heard them. And I'm sure a few people are like, oh, that applies to me, even though it's not their story, right? So I knew you would have some really great stuff to share. And I appreciate you coming on to the Be a Better Being podcast. And we'll definitely put all of your links. And I just want to give a shout out to Athleta. I think it's a great brand. I love it. Anybody, females, men too, kids, they have so many great options, every size, every shape, every sport, everything. If you struggle to find athletic wear that you feel good in, I am pretty confident you can find it at Athleta. So check it out. Reach out to me, reach out to Jen. We can give you a little ins and outs about that too. I personally feel you got to feel good in what you're wearing if you're going to go move your body. And I know so many people are not comfortable physically or with what they see. Invest in some great clothes. It'll change your life when it comes to exercise and your relationship with exercise. So I have a big shout out to Athleta. Jen, we'll put all your information in the show notes. Thank you so much for coming on. And everybody
it's an
listening,
honor.
yeah, everybody listening, thank you. And you know that you just get to go and be a better being. Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Be a Better Being podcast. Michelle and Sasha hope that what you heard today inspires you to embrace this journey of life with an open mind, a kind heart, and a willingness to learn and evolve. If you enjoyed the content, please help spread their message by subscribing, sharing, and leaving a 5-star review. If you have a show topic idea or would like to be a guest, please visit betterbeings.net and fill out a contact form. Until next time, go and be a better being.